Hey guys, welcome to the ninth podcast of the YTCA. My name is Nick,
My name is Theo.
My name is Ezra.
and yeah, thank you guys so much again for joining us. Um, thank you guys for those of you guys who have been sticking around. Thank you guys. It's more than 2 months now, so yay! Thank you guys for coming. We really do appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys are new, we do have our Instagram links down below. We have also a website that we maintain weekly that you guys can get up to date information, different kinds of really valuable resources, whatever. It has a lot of things that you might find really interesting. So yeah, that's about it. And we'll get into topic, which this week we are actually talking about the idea of maintenance. How to maintain how to maintain mental health and physical health, right? Because we feel like we talked among ourselves and we thought that we talk a lot about problems, right? What are the problems, right, that people face, but we don't talk about solutions. And I think identifying the problem, of course, is important, right? No one can say that it's not important to identify the problem. But what is important is we have to recognize, what steps we can take towards solving that issue, right? What steps we can do to kind of, make that issue better on us, right? So that's what we want to do this week. We want to really look at some of the mental health topics that we covered, as well as we have potentially we will cover some physical health topics as well. And yeah, I guess we'll just start from there. Yeah, we're just gonna give you guys some tips and solutions on our end. Some of them from the internet, some of them just from personal experience, and yeah, well, I guess we'll get started that way. So, uh, I guess we can just start with something like lack of motivation. We we did a series on this, right? So, do you
Yeah,
guys have really good solutions for that? Tips?
I think while we did cover like small solutions in our like a motivation mini series, specifically on like how to get out of burnout and how to overcome procrastination, I think I guess we'll kind of go in more go in like kind of a brief overview and a little detail. Like when you feel a lack of motivation, I think one of the things that helps me a lot is um, setting a goal, setting a kind of well, it doesn't have to, and usually a goal that isn't too far fetched. It's like a very doable, very almost easy goal. Because doing that, getting started, getting the engine running, then like leads you to kind of do it again, and then slowly, like piece by piece, you'll eventually kind of build up this sort of um, kind of yeah motivation to work. It doesn't have to. You might go back into a slump. You might find it difficult to motivate yourself on certain days. But I think setting a goal for yourself, it can be even like a very small goal. Like, okay, the next 30 minutes, I'm going to like really, really try and focus on doing my work. Or it can even just be as small as like, okay, I'm going to focus on getting this next math problem done. Like something as small as that helps me because I have like very short attention span, and it helps me make sure that I'm focused and make sure that I don't like become lazy and procrastinate.
Yeah, that's really good. Another thing I find helpful is, setting a schedule. I don't really have I guess, a written schedule down, but, it may help you if you like have a written schedule down of what to do at certain times, because sometimes like if you don't have motivation, you like don't know what to do in your day and you're just like ambling about. And yeah, if you have a schedule, I kind of have a schedule, and I think that has really helped me throughout the day. And like knowing that, oh, I can only play for this long, and then I should get back to work, like, in a couple of minutes. And yeah, maybe another thing too is like having friends who like encourage you to do better. Like, you can do this. Like, they push you to do things that are reachable, but you shouldn't be feel compelled to like, oh wow, you need to get 100% on the next test. Like your friend shouldn't like. I mean, they can encourage you to do that, but like don't feel so compelled that if you don't get 100%, like, it's not the end of the world.
life ain't over. So, but basically, yeah, I definitely have to agree with what you said, Theo. I think for me, okay, I usually like to look at it a little more logically, right? I think about, I usually think, hey, right, um, why am I doing this, right? What's the reason why I'm doing this, right? Like, for example, why am I losing motivation, right? What is motivating me in the first place? Do I even have motivation for this in the first place, right? And then I'll identify it. For example, I'll just give something personally, right? I guess doing homework, something as simple as that, right? Why am I doing it? Well, I'm not doing it for any teacher. I'm not doing it for any parents, right? I'm not doing it, for anyone, honestly. I'm doing it so that like I know more, right? I understand the concept better, right? So that's what's motivating me. If I'm not doing my homework, maybe it's something wrong with my goal. Maybe I'm losing sight of that, right? And like, hey, do I not care about myself anymore, right? Do I not? Do I like prioritize something else other than that? I look at it that way and be like, oh yeah, that's probably why I'm not as motivated. So, there are different factors involved. But I definitely have to agree with what you guys said. Basically, good friends. Because a lot of these things, a lot of the mental issues, it's hard to see that you're losing. I mean, it's more apparent to other people than it is to you. Other people around you might notice just the subtle differences where you don't, right? Because well, it's hard to kind of it's really hard to find your own mistakes. I think you guys can relate, right? It's hard to find what your weaknesses are than like someone else finding it for you. So like I think it's really important here to have good friends, as well as having a clear goal in mind, right? And knowing what's motivating you and can you continue to use that motivation to your advantage. So I think that's something. Yeah, that's something I think that's really important in terms of not losing motivation in the middle of something.
I definitely have to agree with that. I think thinking about why you do the things that you do, while I do agree that that's really good, and like trying to figure out what truly motivates you and why. Um, Sometimes I find it like when I try to do that myself, sometimes I'll find it very difficult or very hard to work through like why I work. Because sometimes like you think about it, you think about it in a certain way and you come to a conclusion, but you still don't feel motivated. And I think that comes from a lot of um, kind of the style of being narrow-minded, not necessarily like the super negative, like, oh, you can only see from one perspective, but like more of like the fact that you have a logical thinking process and like you think about things in a certain way. um and so what I really liked about what you said, Nick, was finding other people, um especially people who don't think the same way as you. If you can do that and like tell them about your situation, ask them about what they think, I think that's a great way to um, kind of brainstorm as to why you're doing what you're doing, why you need to motivate yourself. Like for example, I have a friend who basically he's like a lot wiser than me, and so like I'll often like come to him with a problem and I'll like share it with him, right? And he'll give me really good advice on like in a way that I don't expect, because he knows me, we know each other pretty well, and like I'll go to him for advice and whatnot because I know that he doesn't think the exact same way as me, and he like he usually comes up with like a very refreshing and very motivating perspective to take things at.
That is interesting. But yeah, I think yeah. Other than that, I guess kind of I think this is a pretty good time to kind of look at our next one, right? Kind of transition into the idea of depression and anxiety, right? I think I think depression, of course, depression and anxiety. Yes, people usually group them together, but I think it's better to talk about them like separately because there's elements in both that are they have their own different nuances to them. So I would say, well, why don't we talk about depression first? I think as to you guys who are listening, I think if you guys were here, we invited a guest, Mrs. Pan, which is Theo's aunt, to come on the show. And she talked about her experiences and her expertise in the field, and we're forever grateful. And also, right, I think, there's a lot of solutions that she gave, which were really interesting, I think. Really, really made me think. For example, right, how, physical activity is as effective as taking medicine,
Yeah.
because people right now, a lot of people like they trust, the medical technology a little too much, right? It's like, oh yeah, medicine can solve anything, right? If I have a headache, yeah, Advil, right? Stomachache, Advil. Anything, Advil, right?
Right.
Well, maybe just my personal opinion, but I mean, it's just, I feel like it's really interesting how the natural method, right? Natural method of just hanging out with friends and just exercising really helps with that, relieving that mental tension. But yeah, I mean, you have something? Do you guys have something with that? I'll be curious to hear about it.
Well, I just want to mention, she also mentioned about taking a journal and writing like your experiences of the day. I know she went over it, but I'm going to emphasize it a little bit more. Um, as I've stated in the previous videos, there's a course on at Yale on the science of being happy. I've done a little bit of the material there, and based on that, there's something called like a gratitude log. Basically, you write 5 things you're grateful for every day, and like you take the time to do that, and there's like been studies on it, and like it's actually helped people a lot with being less depressed and being happy. Another thing is actually called the gratitude visit. This is like a little bit more action than writing 5 things down that you're grateful for. The gratitude visit is like it's writing a letter to someone like you really want to thank, and like going to the person in person and then handing the person the letter and like thanking them. I know that this may be a little bit kind of, I guess, too much during the pandemic because we're not really allowed to meet people, but with the vaccines maybe that'll change. But yeah, people say that their happiness levels, like studies show that their happiness levels were like they persisted after like 2 months, something like that. Like they were really happy for a long time. So I think like one of the best ways to be less depressed is to do things for other people and like help other people out, because like sometimes like helping other people makes you feel a lot happier than just maybe just doing things that please yourself. I don't know if that has happened to you, but like it's happened to me like multiple times. If I've gone out of the way to really help someone, it really just makes me happier and like less depressed. I feel like, wow, I've done something in the world that it's really, it may not be really big, but at least I've made someone's life happier and like a little bit better.
Nice, nice. I completely agree. Yeah, spending time with people and helping people can be a great way to sort of reinvigorate yourself. um, I do kind of want to go back to like Nick's point, like to be clear, medicine isn't just taking medication. Okay, there's a lot of different factors. I would know from my mom, who's a doctor, but I do. I think one of the things that maybe I'm not completely sure on this because I don't know if there's like a study done it or anything, but I think a lot of the times maybe one factor that may lessen the effect of certain like practices and treatments, such as like writing a journal or whatnot, or like writing 5 things that you're grateful for. I think one of the things that might lessen the effect is kind of not taking it seriously, or not taking it in, or just seeing it as some kind of thing that you have to do, an obligation, right? I think a lot of the times, um, this is my speculation, but a lot of the times, people who are not so motivated or not are kind of depressed may feel like doing those things is just kind of just something they're told to do, and it's not really something that they want to do. And so that can make things less genuine, and that can really dumb down what the effects of like taking that time and really reflecting can have on the person. Which is why like I really do encourage like going outside and like, well, meeting people is kind of hard to do right now, but if you can meet people and like talk with people, because um, they're those kind of things are not so much obligations as they are just social interaction. You can like, it doesn't even have to be like a therapist or whatnot. It can be like your friends, your family, assuming that those aren't like kind of factors that cause your depression. Because there are times when like family pressure or bad friends at school can cause depression, but go to people that you trust who can sympathize and care for you. Go to those people and kind of get along with them. Spend time with them so that you don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I think, especially during this time, right, where we're all socially distant. Well, hopefully you should be socially distant, and you should be distant. Um, right? It's really hard to get that kind of physical contact, right? But I don't think we should use that as an excuse, right? We have other ways, right? You can just call your friend, right? Because I think most of us nowadays has a really magical device that we call phones, right? Or we have different kinds of apps that we can use to communicate with each other, right? Sometimes you say like, "Hey, I can't reach my friend," or sometimes like, "Hey, I don't want to talk." Sometimes I think those are just excuses, right? A lot of the times you can, you know, I think it's really important to realize how important it is to communicate because us humans, we're social creatures, right? We're not like lions, right? Which they hunt alone, right? We don't. We need the presence of others to help us grow, right? And in terms of depression, right, and anxiety, you know, if you're depressed, you need to talk to someone, right? If you bottle something up inside of you, nothing is going to change, right? You can't. Okay, this might be a little controversial, but in my opinion, a lot of the things about you you can't change. A lot of the things you cannot change. But if you just keep it bottled inside of you, nothing will change. You have to get it out to other people, right? Other people, they're there for you. You want to kind of share the burden, right? You want to distribute the load because that's what friends are for. Friends are there. That's what good friends are for, especially, right? They're there at your best and they're there at your worst, right? At your highest points and at your lowest points, they should be there, right? That's what true friends are, right? And I think if you can give them that kind of a load like that, right, it really helps them. I think as a person to know how to talk to someone, right, who is down, to talk, how to get someone out of that situation, gives them kind of experience, and also makes you feel better, right? And after you've grown out of that experience, you can use that to help others, which is the important part, right? Kind of passing on what you have learned to the next people. So yeah, that's what I think, anyways. But yeah, you guys, this yeah, that's just the piece of thing for me, though. I don't know what you guys think about
Wait, so go ahead, Ezra.
I mean, I was gonna just say that for the sake of time, we can move on to the next topic, because we are running a little low on time, on to more physical health issues. So talking about how to maintain physical health, maybe in terms of weight or obesity or even nutrition and just staying fit. Um, so yeah, so what do you guys think about like trying to maintain a certain, I guess, body, like maintain a certain level of physical health? Because you could talk about mental health too, because they are interrelated, in, inter they are related to each other. They're not
that.
exclusive, right? Mental health does affect physical health and vice versa. So yeah, what do you guys think?
By the way, just adding a small thing. If you guys want us to actually talk more about physical health and go in depth, because we are not going to go too in depth today, but if you guys really want us to hear us go in depth of any of these topics, please let us know. In the comments or wherever. Just please let us know. We'll go in depth if you guys want. All right. But yeah, what do you guys think?
One thing that really helps me is setting an alarm every day to go exercise because like if you don't have a schedule to do exercise, you're not going to do it. And for nerds like me who like studying a bunch, well, I don't really like studying a bunch, but like I prefer to study over exercising, unfortunately. So like I of course have like there's a saying like you always have time for the things you like to do. So
Mhm.
if you like exercising, you're of course going to make it part of your day. If you like playing video games, of course you're going to make it part of your day. I haven't like super like exercise, so I don't really make it a part of my day. But if you force yourself by like, okay, there's going to be a time that I'm going to exercise for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, I think that really helps you. And as for, I guess, healthy eating, to be honest, I'm not really good on that. But you see, my parents make most of my food. So, and another thing, sorry, I'm being a little bit disorganized. One thing I think that really helps is making healthy foods like, taste good. Like, there's really no other way to eat, all the healthy foods like fruit, I don't know, vegetables, unless, they somehow taste good to you. And you can just spice up your food in a variety of ways to make it taste good. So
Mhm. I definitely have to agree with Theo on um, making food taste good, making healthy food taste good. Um, like Theo, I don't cook a lot of my food. A lot of my food comes from my brothers or my grandma. Actually, very grateful. Um, and like because she cooks like these amazing like Korean meals. Because I'm Korean. Like they're actually, I won't say they're like incredibly healthy because they're not. But I will say that they are more nutritious than like say a pizza or like a burger, right? And I think that if you can make really good food that's like healthy, I think that's like ideal. But even if you can't, I think there's a genuine sort of joy in eating food that might be healthy for you and not the most tasty. Like if you're eating like I don't like carrots or celery, but like if you can endure like eating it for the sake of like no, this is healthy, this is good for me. I think there is a point where you will start to appreciate it and then start to like it. Like I did that for like kimchi. Like I didn't like kimchi at first. I know it's such a non-Korean thing, but I didn't like kimchi at first. But as I ate more of it because like I knew it was healthy for me, um, I began to like acquire a taste for it. And then I eventually, yeah, I eat it like all the time now. So I definitely agree with you on making food taste good or trying to get used to healthy food.
Yeah, I think for me, personally, the way that I usually do it is making it part of your daily routine, right? It's really important to make it, a routine. As a study shows, after 3 weeks, if you do something, consistently after 3 weeks, it will be part of your routine. Let's just say, I don't know, exercising, right? For example, if you just in the beginning, you're gonna have to force yourself. I can't lie. In the beginning, I didn't want to exercise either. I guess no one wants it, right? Because it's so comfy in the chair, right? Once you sit down, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do 5 minutes, like 5 more minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes. 5 minutes will turn to 5 minutes will turn to 10, 10 will turn to 15, 15 to an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. You're not going to exercise today. You'll be like tomorrow then. And then that goes to however long, right? You have to make sure you set a specific schedule for that. Scheduling is very important as, if you have a specific time and date for it, you'll be able to do fine, right? Like, for example, do you guys, I don't think any of you guys forces yourself to go to school, right? You be like, oh, dang it, I forgot to go to school, right? That's not something that really goes through your mind because it's part of your routine, right? Or it's like, oh, I forgot to eat dinner tonight. Well, you might actually do that. I don't know. I can't really speak. But like for most people, right? It's a part of your routine. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And it's part of your routine. You don't forget something like that easily, right? Even if you forget it, your body just kind of acts on it, right? As like instinctually, right? Just like how if you can try to tell your body that you need to exercise regularly, your body will exercise, right? If you don't, your body will feel the itch to. It'll be like, oh, why are you not moving, right? What's happening right now, right? You'll feel weird, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, it's time to exercise. I'm building out, and the point of exercise, right? Of course, everyone has their different motives for exercising, and I can go on a long time about how exercising produces different results depending on the way you do it, right? Of course, practice exercise with caution. Exercise, don't stress yourself too much and stuff like that. But just overall, make sure to have a schedule. And I think in a future podcast we'll talk about time management and schedule making. But just for now, keep that in mind. Scheduling is very important in exercising. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think making something a routine, making something a habit, is really good, especially for physical health, because your body will tell you when you're not. If you make it a habit, your body will tell you when you're like not keeping up with it. Like like I started watching what I eat like a long time ago actually. But I started watching what I eat, right? And nowadays, like if I eat something like really unhealthy, like if I eat like a lot of cake or something, my body will like tell me like, "Hey, no, you feel sick now." And then I mean that might just be more of a me thing, but I think your body will tell you if you make a healthy habit, your body will tell you when you're not sticking to it. And same thing in reverse. If you make a bad habit, then your body will try and stop you when you're trying to make a good habit. For example, if you're always sitting down, obviously it's very hard to start exercising and be physically active. Your body will tell you that it's hard. But yeah.
Um, yeah, I think another thing is make sure you're paying attention to what you eat. Not just eating less. Eating less does not solve anything.
That's true.
It's about watching what you eat. Right. I can eat, I don't know. Let's just say, well, we'll just take this example for it, right? If you were to eat one slice of pizza, right, instead of 10, yes, you're reducing what you eat, right? But you're still eating a less healthy food. Instead of, I don't know, eating a salad, maybe get some bread and soup with it, right? Something like that. Of course, that's depending on you. But, right, something like that might be a lot more healthy. Even though one slice of pizza is less than what you ate with salad and, soup and bread, right? Again, it's about what you eat. And if you're in doubt, there's a lot of great online resources. Go on Google. Go like make yourself a smoothie. Right. Some of the green smoothies are really good to boost your vitamin intake and your nutritional intake. Right. For maybe food, just ask your parents like, hey dad, hey mom, can I can I get a salad tonight? Maybe we should try to help your family as well. Right. I think this is something. It's kind of hard to do by yourself. Try to get involve other people with it. It's fun, right? It's a process. It's a learning process. It's about taking control over your body, right? And being decisive about it. And involve your family with it, right? Why don't like everyone we like eat healthy, right? We eat healthier in the family, right? It helps everyone. This is why I like. This is why I think nutrition is important. It doesn't only affect you; it affects the people around you, right? You have your better nutrition means more productivity, right? You can express yourself better. You're more confident of yourself, right? Because of course I won't go too deep into this again. We'll probably talk about it someday later. But if you're overweight, you're more likely to be ashamed of who you are because what you look like, or if you're underweight, right? So I think it's important to kind of recognize that and see that this is something that really helps, and this is something that you should do. You know, and if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to ask us. Consult anyone around you. Ask counselors. Like a lot of people, there's great resources out there. So yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add to that.
No, I think we're good. I
Yeah,
mean,
same here.
all right. You want to wrap it up then, Nick?
I'm sure. I mean, all right, but yeah, as you guys can see, we did offer some solutions there. However, for some of the topics, we didn't go like too deep, of course, because today we're just talking about solutions. If any of the topics that interest you today, you want to see, more deeply explored, or you want a separate podcast about it, please let us know in the comments, email us, anything, right? Just tell us, about, whether you want, you want something, that's deeper, But yeah, for now, thank you guys again for watching. And then we want to make a small announcement before we go. Ezra, would you want to talk about the small group that we host every Sunday?
Yeah, for sure. So every Sunday at 4 p.m., we hold like a small group, an intimate time where we can get to know each other, get to grow, especially because of the kind of pandemic situation where we can't see each other in person, and we're kind of we're not seeing each other as much, right? So we wanted to create sort of this intimate group of people who you can come and be open about yourself, share. You don't, well, yeah, be open, be able to interact with people, have some fun. It's very casual, but it's also nice to talk to people every now and then. So if you're interested, we will have an interest form below. And yeah,
Okay, thank you guys for coming again. I hope that you guys enjoyed our talk this week. Remember to check out our Instagram, our website, and yeah, we hope to. If you want to come, we hope to see you at small group. And yeah, have a nice day, guys. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
bye.